laminated for multiple uses, right? Becoming a sought-after speaker is most of our desires. Raise your hand if you are a speaker. Now to become sought after. Let me introduce you, or reintroduce you, to a man that you might remember well. This gentleman was on Saturday Night Live for years, and he helped each one of us have positive affirmations as he would stare into a mirror and tell himself, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Does anybody remember this man?
Yes, yes.
If you do not remember this man, let me explain. He was a skit on Saturday Night Live, and he would actually tell people, you gotta have positive affirmations in your life. And then this was his classic line. So now I need you to say it with me. Let's do it. You ready? I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. You got it. Now let's do it with our actions. Here we go. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. That's exactly what I want you to believe to become a sought-after speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, you are good enough. You are definitely smart enough, and doggone it, people like you. It's true. So let me walk you through the 3 powerful projections that you must have to become a sought-after speaker. I believe if you project these things in your own life, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me, people will, believe me, want to hear you. Because you have an incredible, unique story like no other. So let's start with the first one. I'm good enough. Shockingly, that sounds a little passé. Oh, I'm good enough to do this. No, it's very empowering, ladies and gentlemen, to believe that you're good enough. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with understanding the truth. You need to have a belief system that you and I in this room today are a work in progress. You see, folks, there's not ever a time that you and I get to arrive. There's no time that you will be on stage and you are the in-all, be-all. You have to believe every time you get in front of people, every time you're a work in progress. So that's a belief system. Where I am at this moment, I am good enough to be on stage. I have the right to be here because I am a work in progress. The next belief system under I'm good enough is getting rid of perfectionism. How many of you in here would be a little honest with me, please? How many of you tend to be a perfectionist? Raise your hand. Okay, I love you guys. I really do. And here's the problem, though, with perfectionism. Is anyone really perfect? No. Now, I would like to believe I'm perfect. The truth is, I'm not. So I don't think I'm better than you. Guess what? You're not perfect either. So here's my point. I don't want you to let go of wanting to strive to be for the best. But perfectionism is honestly unattainable. Do you know when you let perfectionism rob you of saying, I'm good enough to be on stage, you get the appearance of 2 things. We say perfectionism has 2 close cousins. The 2 close cousins of perfectionism are looking incompetent. Sometimes you can look incompetent because you're trying to be such a perfectionist that you're not putting that forward. That's a close cousin. And you know what the other close cousin of perfectionism is? Procrastination.
Yeah.
That's why I am so blessed to hear today that you guys are trying to put forth this speaker series, this thing this unification thing, because the truth is, at least you know it's not going to be perfect, but you're moving toward it, because if not, you'd procrastinate until we became the perfect Speakers Bureau Club. So get rid of that perfectionism, and this will help you. So listen up, perfectionists. This message is for you. Version 1, is better than version none. You heard me right. Say it with me. Version 1 is better than version none. Please believe me on this one. They say even Steve Jobs, the movie's coming out about his life, Steve Jobs was the ultimate perfectionist. They say that. You ready for this? Even Steve Jobs had to give the world version 1. We're now on what? iPhone 6? So it's okay to put version 1 out there because version 1 is much better than version none. This is a real lesson I've had to learn in my life, Toastmasters. I come to Toastmasters clubs and I'm like, dang it, I'm the one that gets paid to speak and I think they're better than me. And so that misbelief about yourself will hinder you. So sometimes even my version 1 is better than version none. You know, the most successful people in life are not the ones that are the most talented, folks. They're the ones that are willing to put themselves out there in version 1 and keep growing. So man, you've got this, people. And last but not least, Toastmasters. Toastmasters itself. Rest in your tenacity. You know, the most talented people are not the best, and the most talented people do not give up. Do not give up. You know what I see here today in this room? A bunch of people that are not giving up, right? Because it's easier to just say, well, I tried my best. Oh, well, I'll give up. No, we have a reunion here today. Like Cliff Brackett just said, we have 100+ years of experience. And you know why? None of us are giving up. We're not giving up. So let's say it. I am good enough.
I am good enough.
Good. I know that you believe that as your projection. The next one is, I am smart enough. Shockingly, you are. And I'm going to tell you why. You might not be the sharpest tool in the shed. The truth is, though, you have a very unique way to see things. How many of you have ever heard this phrase? There's nothing new under the sun.
Oh, yeah.
The truth is, that's right. The same speech has been delivered over and over and over again. There's nothing new under the sun. So what makes you smart enough is this: your personal stories. No one has your story. No one has my story. Growing up in a small little town in Morton, Illinois, pumpkin cap of the world, being married 20 years, having 2 kids, being a kindergarten teacher, being a speaker, traveling. No one has exactly my story. No one has your story. No one has your same exact hardships in life. I've had hardships. And those are the very thing that make me the expert. I am smart enough because I have personal things that have happened to me that honestly have not happened to you. And you need to believe that about your personal stories. They're the ones that make the difference. It's those stories that people say, I really think she's smart because she's been through something. I really think you're smart because you've been through something. You also have a unique perspective that makes you smart enough. We all know that you can take different angles or different views on the way you see things, and this makes you smart enough. I have to tell a story. Be willing to become the expert. This story is about someone I love very much. His name is Mark Behrens, and he is my brother-in-law. He lives in Redding, California. He's a photographer, a very, very amazing photographer. So he started his career in photography in realizing that the truth is there's not a lot of people putting on workshops on how to become a better photographer, unless they're the really high-end people that charge a lot of money. So he thought, you know what? I am smart enough. I'm going to lead workshops at a very well-priced point. And I am going to teach people how to be a photographer. The ones that really want to be a photographer, that can't spend thousands of dollars going to some big photography convention. Do you realize when he started doing his photo workshops, he was not the smartest person there. He had photographers coming that knew a lot more than he did. In fact, he said sometimes he didn't feel smart enough. Yet at the same time, hear me out, folks, they weren't putting on workshops. All these smart people out there who were great at photography were not putting on a workshop. Probably because their own misconception and misbeliefs about themselves. It was he that was putting on the workshop. So here he is in his workshops getting photographers that are smarter, better than him, better photographers, yet they were coming to him for advice because he was the one willing to step out and say, I'll put on a workshop. Fast forward to today. Let me tell you who Mark Behrens is today. He is an amazing, well sought after photographer with 800,000 followers on one of his sites. He gets paid to advertise for different photography products. This man today will stand before you and say, truth is, there's nothing I really can't answer hardly anymore about photography. I've pretty much learned everything I can still grow and learn, but I really am the expert. You get where I'm going with this? He was the one putting on the workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, again, that's why I applaud this club. You're the ones that are going to put on the Speakers Bureau Unification Summit. Thank you very much. Fill in the blank. Because, you know, the truth is, who else is doing it? And through that process, you will become the expert. Ladies and gentlemen, you are smart enough. You have a unique perspective. You have personal stories that no one else has been through. And if you put yourself out there, you become even more the expert and even more smart. So everybody say it with me. I am smart enough.
I am smart enough.
And then last but not least, doggone it, people like me. Doggone it, people like me. All right, so I will say the one projection that you have to give to people is your likability factor. Sorry, that's a part of it. And if you want to see it as politics, go ahead. The reality is you can know a politician through their likability factor and not even like their policies, correct? Have you ever wanted to vote for somebody even though you're like, dang it, I don't like what they stand for. Dang it, I don't really like their policies, but doggone it, I kind of like that guy. Or I kind of like that woman, right? So at some point, you have to believe, doggone it, people like me. So how are you and I going to increase our likability factor? It's a work in progress. It's something that we actually have to practice. Notice I put a picture up of my family. That's us. That's me, my husband Rob. We've been married 20 years. Hey, that deserves a hand clap. You know why? Because in Hollywood, that's a golden anniversary, right? And my son is almost 17, Connor, the one on the left. Yes, I know. And then my little one is 12. Connor loves baseball, so I'm not a soccer mom, I'm a baseball mom, okay? And my little one has severe dyslexia. So we spend $11,000 a year for him to go to a special school so he can learn how to read. Ironically, I taught kindergarten, hundreds of kids how to read, and I couldn't teach my own. I had no idea. I used to stand up in front of everybody and say, phonetic awareness. Everybody can learn to read through phonics. And it's not true. He needs decoding. He needs another way to learn. I, as a mother, had mother guilt. I've walked through a lot with my son. Even at his young age, he confessed he wanted to commit suicide. His self-worth was so low. He couldn't look in a mirror and say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn, people like me. If you don't believe that you are good enough, smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you, guess what? You're not going to give that belief system to other people. So through this process, we have seen my son grow and learn and be able to say, I am good enough. I am smart enough. Even though I can't read, I'm smart. And gosh darn it, people do like him. He's adorable. So you have to become likable in the sense that if you show people, I'm not saying that people are going to agree with you. There are plenty of things in my life that people do not agree with me on. But gosh darn it, I hope you like me, even if we disagree. And here's why. The truth is that you have power in telling other people the truths of your life, the realities of what you go through. That's how you become likable. So let me make these points very clear. Bring in the human side of yourself to others, like I just did. I just told you the real human side of my family and what we go through. Be a human. Tell people the struggles and the battles that you go through as a human being. How to become more likable. Know your audience, hands down. I knew when I was walking in here today what audience I was having. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little intimidating audience, right? You're the Speakers Bureau. You guys are out speaking. Gosh, Michael has a radio show. That's a dream of mine. So now I have to look in the mirror after talking to Michael and saying, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me, I can have a radio show too. Oh, right? Right? Like you need to have that belief system too. So know your audience. I knew what I was stepping into today. So that's why I'm telling you, you're already speakers, you're already fantastic. Now how to become sought after, right? It's almost like you appease your audience in a good way. So I'll tell you two stories. Yes, I travel a lot with Skill Pass seminars. Toastmasters changed my life. I went from teaching kindergarten over there at Bradshaw Christian, auditioning for Skill Path, and now becoming an international speaker, traveling to Australia and New Zealand once a year for them, and all over America. Now, when I go to Australia, I have to become a likable person because the truth is, if you've traveled outside of America, not everyone loves America. Okay, so I've had to set the record straight. And I know that walking in. Now I had to learn this. It was a hard lesson to learn. So I came up with a little tagline. As you can tell, now imagine you're Australians, okay? As you can tell, I'm an American because I have an accent. And I usually get a laugh there. So here's the deal. It's true. I am an American. Please don't hold that against me. Okay, and I get a laugh there in this Australian audience. All right, you guys, here's the truth. I'm going to make a little deal with you Aussies. You see, I'm not over-exaggerating. People in America love you. They do. We fantasize about you. The outback koala kangaroo. Okay? And then so I want you to believe Americans love you. And then I came over here and found out that's not always reciprocated. And I get this huge laugh. So I'm appealing to them. I'm becoming likable because they don't like me with my accent. All right, so let's make a little deal. I'll keep that our secret that you don't really like Americans if you give this Yank a chance. Because they call us Yanks. And once I do that, I'm in. Give a high five to your neighbor, say, let's give this Yank a chance. I'm in. Folks, they like me. Same thing with Skill Pass seminars. Some people are sent to these seminars against their will. I teach how to be a better communicator. So I'm teaching Toastmaster stuff constantly. And by the way, just so you know, I advertise Toastmasters every day of my life. Okay? So I'm teaching people how to become a better communicator, and they got sent there against their will. So how am I going to be likable toward that kind of a resistance? I say to them, some of you, I need everybody to look at me right now. Now, so pretend you're in the audience and you were sent here today. Some of you in here were sent here today, hashtag not happy, okay? If you're that person, number one, it happens all the time. I'm not judging you and no one is here in this room. Number two, if you were sent here today, the person that sent you here is the one that should really be here. Am I right? And then I get this huge laugh, okay? Number three, if you were sent here today, please don't take it out on me. I love my job. And number four, if you were sent here today, I want you to be able to thank the person that sent you here. No matter how ill will their intentions were, because you will be better because of it. Guess what? I'm in. I'm in. I'm likable. You have to see their things that they might have against you and use it toward them. Help them. Be authentically real. You're not always the hero, folks. In every story, you can't be the hero. Being likable is saying, I struggle. I told you I struggle with my self-doubt, even as a speaker. You gotta be real. So, you've just learned the 3 powerful projections for speaker success. And now, I want you to go into a mirror so that you become a sought-after speaker and say to yourself, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Madam Toastmaster.